Good day, my fellow people on the internet. And in this video, I want to respond to a man named Arvin Ash about he made a comment in response to me on the coordinates of the speed of light being exactly the same as the pyramids. And he was disagreeing, and he gave a reason as to why he's disagreeing. So we'll look at this with an open mind. We'll fact check, see if it's true, and I'll give my final points of view at the end of this video. But for those of you who do not know, he's actually quite a large, by the way, I should mention actually, I made this comment, we'll come back to this, I'll read it, but I made this comment on my other YouTube channel, which is more personal. And I made it, just to point out to people, because it's interesting, and I didn't really expect him to respond. So he did, and then I replied, and well, let's do a video on it, because why not? Okay, so Arvin Ash, he's a YouTuber and he does videos on physics, actually, quantum mechanics and special relativity, and I actually enjoy them quite a lot. You can see here I'm subscribed, so I don't really have anything against the person, right? And I believe in having an open mind and pushing aside cognitive dissonance, okay? So somebody has a different point of view, I want to hear it, okay? Because I want to be right, but not right as in I want you to believe what I say. I want to be on the side of truth. And if there's a problem with my logic and it's not on the side of truth, well, then trying to argue a falsehood, because honestly, what's the point? I want to know what's true. So we'll look into what he says, and we'll see if I agree, whether I disagree, because I went ahead, I fact checked it. But he's a YouTuber over here. I've watched, his videos. I've seen other stuff. Let's see, 989,000 subscribers. Okay, cool. So there were two comments, right? The first one I made on another video. It's over here. Oh, who's, by the way, like a cool little aside. This is an awesome plugin, by the way. It allows you to search YouTube comments. It's called YouTube comment search. It's awesome. You just type in here, and then, that 1,268 comments you have down there, you can get exactly to the comment you like. I love it. Anyways, what I wrote over here is a recent video here shows the coordinates of the Great Pyramid is the same 6-digit number as the speed of light. Like, this is actually my video I'm posting. I do this because I want to have discussions, because as I discuss and talk to people, I learn, I grow, and I get to make new content. Why not? I haven't made content for a long time on my channel, but it was kind of fun. I want to get back to it. I like these discussions. So I said a recent video here shows that the coordinates of the Great Pyramid is the same 6-digit number as the speed of light. And before we get into that, his response, I essentially want to show you this over here. Boom, let's have a note over there. And let's just take this and drag it to the side of the screen, right? So for those of you who might have not seen some of my other past videos discussing this point, and I don't just mention the coordinates of the pyramid are the same. I go through a whole bunch of things that the pyramid builders, I feel, got right and stuff like that. But you can have your own view, right? Let's discuss it. Let's see what's happening. Let's see it's the same. Now, look, I know this is Quora, but in a few moments, we're going to go to Google Maps and you'll see, right? Okay, I'm kind of giving away what my stance is already before even looking at him with an open mind. But yeah, I kind of still think it's the same, but let's go find out why, right? So these numbers are the same, right? Here I see a 2, there I see 2, there I see a 9, there I see 9. Okay, and what I'm going to discuss in the other series that I'm making, right? I'm going to upload the other video soon. I believe it's the next video. I also discuss, some people say, but do you think the Egyptian pyramid builders had the metric system? I'll be like, look at how they designed the metric system. In fact, let me actually get into that in this video, actually, because, yeah, let me get into the metric system and how it's based off nature. Anyways, let me just clear these drawings over here on the screen. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to pop this back into the other browser over there. I don't need that over there. Yeah, we'll come back to this and just clean that up. Awesome stuff. Okay, cool. And going back to the original comment, here it was. Let's just full screen this over here. Okay, so he responded, and I thought this was actually going to be the end of it, but well, he would respond on another comment as well. So he said, one can create almost any number using that method. Okay, cool. So I respond, how so? Naturally, I'm a very inquisitive, analytical person. Don't just tell me that, tell me why. So he said, yes, I said, could you explain further? And sincerely, I do want to know. So anyways, didn't get a response. I thought that was going to be the end of it. On another interesting video I was watching, I put this comment to the video. I say, hey, a recent video shows that the coordinates of the Great Pyramid is the same 6-digit number as the speed of light, to get other people's views. And I did. So he responded over here. Oh, sorry. Here it is. This is what I'm looking for, right? So I said, some time ago, I mentioned that the speed of light is the exact same number as the coordinates of the pyramid. Okay. Arvin actually responded saying, that with this logic, anything can be the same number as the speed of light. I asked him to clarify, but he never did. I am still, spelling mistake, whatever. I am still want to know, as his comment did not make sense and the claim was left unsubstantiated. Look, I'm very technical. Somebody says something, I do want to know the reason why, So let's check the comments over here. So this is what he responds, and this is where we're going to get into the meat of this. So I believe you are referring to the latitude of the Pyramid of Giza. Okay, well, I just want to there we go. I believe you are referring to the latitude of the Pyramid of Giza. The latitude line corresponds to, and he gives the coordinate, which was the same coordinate that I gave, goes through the pyramid. So he's saying, okay, then he goes, here what I meant, that you can make a myriad of numbers fit through the pyramid, given that we are looking at such precise coordinates. First, you should know that the number does not go through the pyramid's peak. So that's the first point he's bringing up that we're going to test. It does not go through the pyramid's peaks. Okay, we're going to fact check that. In fact, others have, okay, I'm not the only one that make these spelling mistakes, eh? Big 900,000 subscriber channels do as well. So I don't know. Well, also has a bit of dyslexia, I suppose. But in fact, others have found that 2, 9. Okay, so I'm actually going to write this down. So he gives another coordinate would be closer to the peak. But of course, that would not match the speed of light perfectly. So there, okay, says it doesn't match the peak of the pyramids, and actually more accurately should be this number. Okay. Then he says, truth is that you can draw about 20,000 lines with different numbers between them, and gives these coordinates, all of which pass through the pyramid. In addition, not only the pyramid, but lots of other structures around the world would pass through. You see that line, that northern line? You might find some other man-made structures somewhere else that also passes through this line. And it would say nothing about any knowledge that those builders would have had. It is pure coincidence combined with number manipulation to make something seem spooky when it isn't. Okay, awesome. All right, so anyways, this guy over here says, not to mention that if you use any other units for angle or length or time, the correspondence disappears. Okay, cool. I'll tell why the units of 360 degrees is important in a few moments. So I say, okay, thank you for your response. Now my next question, do you know right off the bat some of these other structures that also pass through this line? Or do you mean, in all likelihood, I would probably, yeah, so do you know these structures that will pass through that speed of light line that goes around the planet? Or you just mean, in all likelihood, if I were to go and follow that line, I would also happen to find other structures? Okay. All right, let's deal with this one at a time. Let's start with, okay, does the speed of light coordinates actually pass straight through the pyramid apex, right? I believe that's the first thing to check here. I'm just going to pause this video. I'll be back I'll be back instantly for you, but for me, it's in a few moments, but I'm pausing so you won't see that time lapse. So look, we've got here, I've got the number again. We can see it's exactly the same all the way to the 2. There's a 458, but obviously they don't give 458 on the other side, or they don't give what's past the 2. Doesn't matter. You'll see the level of precision with this. So I'm going to just copy these coordinates, and I'm just going to throw it on Google Maps and let's see where in the earth it takes us. But specifically, we're looking for the apex of the pyramid. I'm going to refresh the page. I want to just go, actually, I already have the stuff open, which I don't want. I want to go directly into maps. I kind of want to show people from start to finish what it is that I did. There we go. I'm just only going to put in, oh yes, and I should mention something else. You'll notice that this is a high definition view. I can see the mountains, I can see the trees and stuff like that. If you want to do that on your thing, you need to go into maps and you need to go into satellite view. Where's satellite? There we go. You have to click satellite, right? Because what maps is going to do is it's just going to open in your classical, classical view. Let's go default classical view that looks like this. And you won't be able to actually see the satellite image of the apex of the pyramid, which is what we're looking for. I'm going to go in satellite over here. And then what I'm going to do over there, I'm going to like take this number and I'm going to paste it over there. And let's see what we find. Okay, bam. Now, is it true that this doesn't exactly go through the apex? Why, yes, it is true. It is about a little bit off, right? But actually, we must remember that. Okay, let me point out this. If you right-click anywhere on the image, you see that thing at the top. That is the coordinates. So the nice thing about Google Maps is you can actually get the coordinates by right-clicking anywhere. So if we're checking over here, right, this is the northern line. So that means to say anything horizontal here will be the same coordinate. So actually, it's more like you could say over here, basically, because the east coordinate doesn't really matter here. It wasn't the east coordinate that was the speed of light. It was the north, right? And so more precisely, actually, even though it's a bit off, that's not the fault of, the speed of light, because it's off because of the east coordinate, actually. So actually what it should be is more here that looks pretty much like almost the apex. And you can get pedantic and say, well, it's a tiny bit off, but come on, what is the likelihood of a 6-digit number being exactly the same? I'm going to go into this in more detail, but I'm going to look into the other coordinate that he gave, and let's try see. But looking at the level of precision, look at how the numbers change. If you just move your cursor by an inch, here we have 299. You see at the end there's a 20. They're down just by the tiniest of amounts. And at the end, I have not 20, but 17, right? So it needs to be, that's how accurate this thing is. Like there I have 18, there I have 19. It's only like 2, which is it's only like 2 when I get down there. So yeah, that's actually quite interesting. So far, I must be honest, Arvin, I'm not entirely convinced. We are talking about apparently people who didn't have access to modern technology and satellites and stuff like that, who were just using masonry stone tools and managed to get it exactly precise. Whoa, Andrea, slow down. Are you saying that the ancient Egyptians knew about meters and the metric system? Don't worry, we'll get there in a few moments, right? But now there's another little point that I like to mention. So I'm just going to pause and let's go look into that. Right, there we go. So, yeah, look, he says, he quotes my coordinates over here. And then he says further down, in fact, others have found that this should more likely be the coordinate. So I've put the two coordinates together over here. There's my coordinate and his to look at the difference. Okay, so it looks like the difference starts round about here at these digits, right? So I'm going to look into that in a moment. I just want to do, let's take the coordinate that he suggested over here. Let's copy it and let's go back into maps and let us, okay, so this is our current one, right? We've got it over here. And this is actually a horizontal line. So actually, even though that's a bit off, that's the people on, the internet space. Actually, you should rather be there. I'm not going to paste Arvin's coordinates over. I'm going to paste Arvin's coordinates. He only gave the N, of course, the north, so I'm paste it there. And where's it going to take us? Okay, yeah, that seems a little bit more accurate. And it looks like you've got a point over there, right? So a little bit off, and I want to actually check what is the likelihood of this. Now, out of the entire planet, okay, out of the entire planet, the speed of light literally goes, let's get the original actually. Let's, I believe I can undo. Yeah, the speed of light just gets it off by a fraction, and it's not even like horizontal. Okay, but I'm going to do a further comparison. You know, I still think for primitive builders, that is very impressive. Okay, and then okay, so here I'm comparing my coordinates with his coordinates, and so these are his coordinates, and what we're going to actually look into is the likelihood of such a coincidence, right? So let's just start with my coordinates over there, which was slightly off from the apex, but also remember that the pyramid we see today was not the original pyramid. It's actually had a limestone casing that is actually currently missing because they stole it to build other structures, and there was a golden cap that was missing. Also, if the alignment is a bit off, I think that we can forgive them for getting like even 5 to 6 digits right. But also, why a bit off? Was there anything significant on that part of the golden capstone? It's gone. There was one of the first things to go. It's gold. But let's look at the statistical odds of such happening. So, I mean, we have the speed of light over here, which we've established same as the coordinates of the pyramids. But let's look at the digits: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, don't worry if this looks, elaborate. I'm going to summarize here, but it's out there on the screen if somebody wants to look in the details. So I used probability maths to work out the odds of at least my coordinates, being accurate. Like, what are the chances that the coordinates of the biggest, the Great Pyramid, the most, well-known structure in the world, will be the same as the speed of light? So, as we have 10 possibilities because we have a 10 base number, right? Every digit can either be from 0 to 9. There's 10 possible options. And then probability maths, like, let's pretend every single digit was a throw of the dice, right? So your chances of getting the same as the speed of light on the first digit, the chances of getting it on the second digit. And so basically what that would be is 1 over 10 times 1 over 10 times 1 over 10 for 6 digits, or 1 over 10 to the power of 6 as probability maths, which gives you a 1 in a million chance. Okay. However, comparing his coordinates, he says these coordinates are more accurate. I'll give that to him. It is. Okay. We have about 1 digit wrong. That means there are not 6, but 5 digits. Okay. So it'll be the exact same formula, but raised to the power of 5, which I have open here. What are the statistical odds of this happening? 1 out of 100,000 chance. Now I want to address some of the other questions. But Andrea, you can't, I mean, a meter is a modern thing. How could the pyramid builders have had such knowledge? Could they see the future? Did they know that we're going to have the meter be so much? How did they know about degrees? Okay, so let's get into this. Anyone who uses this argument actually hasn't done their research on the meter. Look, yes, we have things that are man-made, like a megabyte or a kilobyte, but some things we don't just make up, we base them off nature itself. So that is to say, for example, like the number sequence of pi. Okay, yes, we have a base 10 language, but apart from that, the number sequence of pi, is based off nature. Phi is based off nature. That means that anyone in history that was smart enough could have figured it out, even without the knowledge we have today. In the same way, if you check America, 8, plus 8 equals 16, and Africa it would, because it's a concept based off nature. And the meter is pretty much the same, because the meter is designed to intersect 2 important points. And that is, and if you go to the Wikipedia article of the meter, you can also look in other encyclopedias, but if you type speed of light, here we have speed of light dilation, and it says, to reduce further uncertainty, the 17th CGPM in 1983 replaced the definition of the meter with its current definition, thus fixing the definition of the meter in terms of seconds and the speed of light. The second also goes back to like ancient times as well. So look, it's based off the speed of light, but it's based off another, it intersects 2 points in nature. So one is a quarter circumference of the Earth. Let's go look at that. Okay. Circumference. Okay, there we go. There we go. So the Earth's pole along the Great Circle. So the Earth's polar circumference, right? And it's almost exactly intersects the Earth's circumference. If you go and search the Earth's circumference in meters, you'll find it's almost a perfectly rounded off number. It's almost, that 40,000 kilometers was a little bit off. Let's go into Earth's circumference. Oh yes, and I do need to add, this is the circumference around the equator, because it is different from the North Pole. Look at that. Almost, okay, so 40 million meters, but almost perfect. You got there 0.75. Okay, they couldn't get it perfect because, well, it also needed to intersect the speed of light. Okay, I want to show you something else interesting. Come with me. I'm going to press pause a few moments. There's a pause button. So this is what I wanted to show you. The ancient Egyptians worked in royal cubits. And when we convert one royal cubit to a meter, we get this. I'll show you why this is important in a few moments. But what I'm going to get at is there is a lot of evidence that the ancient Egyptians actually knew about the meter, because why? The meter is based off 2 factors in nature. That's why someone in China, if they were smart enough in ancient times, probably could have come up with the Pythagoras formula, because it isn't a made-up story, it's nature. But what is significant about this number? Okay, so what? 1 cubit makes 0.5235 meters. Well, look at pi, right, which is, okay, pi is 3.141559. Okay, so if you take that number, you divide it by 6, and let's give that a go. But I'll show you that in a moment. You take that number, divide it by 6, you're going to get this number over here at the bottom in meters. I'm going to show you this is true, right? Because I always like explaining why I say certain things. So I'm just going to fill this in, and then I'm going to press play on. Here I've done the equation. So we've got pi over here. We divide it by 6, and we get that number. Okay. So in other words, I suppose 6 cubits is equal to pi. And there's something very sensible about this, because cubits were based off the measurements of the human body. It's kind of musical. I like how all this comes together, So yeah, look, without making this video too long, I believe we have covered everything, Yeah, you might have noticed I can get, you might have noticed I can actually get quite passionate when talking about this comment, On Facebook, somebody said, yo, where do you get the time, to go into all this detail and write essays, obviously being a criticism. But I get it because I'm very passionate. I am very passionate about finding the ultimate truth about reality, behind the illusions, behind what we see, and finding the highest ideal, be it God, be it a unifying force. I do believe it to be God, and I respect anyone else's views, so yeah. Oh yes, actually one other thing, you guys know about Graham Hancock. He's quite awesome. He actually is this researcher, researches the pyramids. He showed that the pyramids had water erosion, and the mainstream Egyptologists criticized him until he did a couple of debates, and now it's actually mainstream knowledge. Yes, there is water erosion in the Sphinx. I could give sources and make this video too long. I'm not even going to get time to go into the Snopes article, but hey, anyone who has more than a few brain cells has probably fact-checked Snopes to find they're not really that accurate. I actually do think also a lot of people don't actually fact-check. They go into Snopes and they go, okay, like if they just checked like what Arvin said, I get what he's saying, like his one's a little bit more accurate, but come on, if you go onto Google Maps, it's almost the same. These are stone builders out of the entire, it's the biggest structure in the world. I didn't cherry pick the Colosseum or something. It's the, you know, it's the most well-known ancient structure in the world, you know. But let's get into Graham Hancock. I mean, he's did a show on he did a show on Netflix, and it got a lot of criticism. A lot of mainstream news actually were criticizing him for being racist. Yeah, look, Ancient Apocalypse is most dangerous show on Netflix. The strange and dangerous right-winged freak out over the Ancient Apocalypse. This is so unprofessional. I mean, we live in a day where mainstream news actually supports a 13-year-old having the choice to change his gender. I mean, come on. This is also what upsets me. Modern science isn't science, it's pseudoscience. Oh, you know what I haven't mentioned actually? How did the ancients know about 360 degrees in a circle? For that, I recommend you search the sexagesimal system. I know it sounds like something else, but the sexagesimal system, the ancient system that the Babylonians used, it was actually a base 60 number system, and it also linked to 360. It's why you have, as if you take, for example, 360 degrees in a circle divided by 6, you get 60. So 60 times 60. Okay, but they were one of the first people to develop this concept of dividing the circle into degrees and stuff. And coordinates on the planet, because the Earth is a ball, you know, work in degrees, but degrees go all the way back to ancient time. And this sexagesimal system is far superior than a base 10 system. I can go on so long on this, but one point is our base 10 system has a lot of rounding off errors. And when it comes to flying planes and like spaceships and satellites, that can be very problematic. A lot of mainstream scientists have actually pointed out that the sexagesimal system, it sounds weird, the sexagesimal system is far more superior because it doesn't give these rounding off errors, except for maybe in the prime numbers. If you actually go check this yourself with a base 60, and you start dividing various numbers into it, you'll see actually you barely ever, it's actually out of all the numbers, out of all the bases that you could possibly use, it is the best to not get rounding off, like one of the best, like to not get rounding off problems until you get to the you know, the prime numbers. And I wish I could go on more about this. I don't think we have enough time, but I will in one of, I'm doing a series on my channel. I believe it's in part 2 of the recent series I've done. Okay, cool. Awesome, guys. Great seeing you. This is just what I wanted to say. And yeah, cheers, students of Tehuti.